first three rails, which are all big money makers this time. And I think everything kind of gets to be a big moneymaker once it hits Wichita. But, you know, there's degrees, right? They're all clumped way up here. Well, the first two, hey, let's just run some of that money and try to make as much of it as we can. But they're outstripped by the good old Kansas Pacific running on only 2 shares. It's able to get, it's going to be the thing that's auctioned off, but he's making so much money off of it at that 17 a share that he might be buying the next share. Who knows? You know, again, there comes this point where you have to, where whoever gets it is the person who probably overestimates its value, or else perfectly estimates the value, rather than, you know, whoever just has the most money, because people are sitting on $50 now. Are these things going to make $50? Well, a share right now makes 17, but it's going to drop down into that 12, 13 range pretty shortly. He doesn't have a lot of growth opportunities terribly, whereas he does have I don't know what I was going to say, but he doesn't have a lot of growth opportunities, so that isn't going to, he's not going to shoot up further by any tremendous amount. There's not rich track delays near him. They're okay, but the further west you go, except for this northern route, if you hook up this northern, there's a lot of little towns and stuff up there that maybe can get you some more points. I mean, there's kind of one here too, but it's not like it was, right? So what that means is he's probably going to at best kind of break even on the money for the share. So 17, well, that means it has to run at least 3 times. And we're on round 4 here. So, you know, even if it goes the 4 times, $50 is beginning to look like a big chunk of what you might make back. And there are probably better investments that might be available. The thing, though, again, the scarcity of the investment opportunities, right? As long as people are like, yeah, I don't really want to sell a share. I don't need the money in the company, and, you know, I can spend on something else if I need to or whatever. That really kind of keeps too many shares from being in players' hands and keeps people from investing as much as they might in some of the games where they can always, as their action, they pick, yeah, let's float another share out there, right? Here there's a lot of shares, there's 6 per company, but there's not a lot of opportunity, you know, there's not a lot of desire to send them out from what I've been seeing in the game. All right, on to sort of the tail end companies, and some of these are obviously not doing well at all. The player who owns the Katy, for example, that just sucks. It's not that the Katie's so bad, it's that he played very poorly in terms of trying to, you know, not spend a lot of money. You got to spend all your money to make money in this one, it seems like. Like I said, we get to the bottom of the lineup, and now the Kansas Pacific is going to be up for auction, as we knew it would be with that high. It's got so few shares for what it's putting out. Green, who played kind of parsimoniously, actually isn't doing that badly. You can see they were able to get a good connection of money. You can see they don't have as many pieces that they played as, say, Red did. Of course, Red, you know, Red's like 5. Do we all have the same number of pieces? Looks close. I think the answer is probably yes. But anyway, it looks like I'm missing a red piece in comparison, which I may have to look at and count. But yeah, I noticed one terrible thing, which is the good old Rock Island with its long run going down here and it's forking in different directions and everything. It doesn't make it here. It doesn't make it past that line, which means they won't have any more choo-choos available. They're at about the end of their rope. You know, they can try to hook up some more cheap points, but they're not going to make the run, the big run. And they don't have enough oomph to get them across the line. And I would bet you Blue probably doesn't either. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think they maybe just got 1, 2, 3, 4, That's something I wasn't really paying too much attention to. I thought, oh, there'd be enough to get me to that line. No, there isn't. And in order to get all the way out west, you need one of those land grants. So you need to pay that $30 to get that $20 a turn extra income. And that's something important to keep in mind as well. Anyways, in terms of valuing this, I don't know. I'll come back once the market speaks. But yeah, just don't know. There's 3 reds here, 3 greens there, 2, 3, 4, 5 reds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greens, and now I have 2, 4, 6, and only 5 reds. So I'm wondering if I'm missing a piece. Dropped one. Have an extra one kicking around somewhere that it shouldn't be. Because I think all the railways are supposed to have the same number of pieces in this one. The answer to the choo-choos is 3 of them came with an extra piece. I looked at the manifest. Okay, that's great and fine and wonderful, but geez, I wish, wish I'd known that, especially since, I mean, obviously black got kind of screwed there. Well, blue also is screwed now. Remember, they could make it exactly over. Well, it's because they had an extra piece. But anyway, I revised those numbers. It's not like I was paying attention, so the mistake is, just going to sit there. But now the brown is up for auction, and like I said, I got to figure out what it's worth. With 4 more rounds going, somewhere around $10, maybe a little bit more around, right? I don't know. It ended up going for 46 over here. I don't know if that was terribly worth it, because that's cutting it really at the edge. Now, if brown has enough pieces to get across and make a run there, yeah, maybe one run will be a little bigger. But there are other companies out there that can do it. It's just the problem is it's really hard to assess what the value of these things is. And because of the limited number of buys, it's not like you're going to get another option at something else necessarily. So, because the people who are running the companies don't really want to offer them up unless they really need to. Or unless it's going to get offered up here anyway, and they can take some of the hit away from it. But honestly, the fact that you have when you're offering half the company up for a big influx of money, okay, great. But when you're offering up, I've got a third of the company right now, and I could cut that down to a quarter to get some cash that might be helpful or whatever, but it might not. And it's really hard to water your share down that way, and it's not really something you want to do. Here, I didn't mind going for it. I thought he was going to buy it, but he's like, well, I'm not paying that much for it. So I think it went for close to its value, and we'll start another round, I guess. Now that we're kind of we're at the end of our line with the crib. In terms of tracks we're going to be able to play, because we're not going to make it over the westward land grants boundary. Well, it changes some of the dynamics in terms of some of the decisions we make. We want to make sure no more shares get released. As the president, we have 2/3 of the company. There's no reason to put more money into it. It has plenty of cash. So I only expanded into 2 areas. I could have expanded down here for $3 more, but if I did that, I would have put my price so high that I passed brown. And we're not sure that brown is going to advance either. They probably will, but why take a chance? Why put that in someone else's hands? So we pump our valuation as much as we can to make sure that we don't end up releasing another share. As long as I'm president, which is forever, as long as no more shares are released, I can keep making the optimal profit. Now, I would expand into here fairly shortly, but that then puts me up to, I believe, 18 a share, and right now it's 15 a share. So, there's a little bit of a bonus to restraining yourself at times. Nothing to do with the cash or anything, just at this particular moment in time, I do not want additional shares released. It'll just water down my stock value. Can't do math in my head. It wouldn't have been 18 a share, it would have been 16 a share. And Blue did exactly that. They played their shares out. Now they paid out just about all the money that the company has, but I'm out of choo-choos and nothing else to do. And again, I can't cross the line. That's bad planning. I think you want to set it up so you can cross the line, but here's the thing. If I can figure out a way to, speed the game up a little bit. Remember my end game conditions here, wherever they are. We're now at 2 railways that essentially have no more choo-choos. But otherwise, it's just the time limit, so other people are going to be gaining. However, I'm getting this big income every turn, so I can invest in other things. I don't have to remain in that, and I can try to take a presidency and try to run the game out more quickly now that I've made my bucks off my company. But again, quick money allows you to get more investment. Anyway, I'm going to leave Black stand where they were. I'm sure I made plenty of other mistakes. No reason to treat a little arithmetic error as anything special that I can unwind easily. Serious error there anyway. I saw Brown's 17 here. Yeah, Brown's not really at 17. That's where they were last round to determine things. But that forced an extra share to come out. And that means Blue just screwed up and sold their share. It might have been impossible to prevent this from happening, but oops. Brown also counted their pieces and noticed they're not able to make it across the line. I didn't realize how difficult it would be to do so. You really need this kind of straight line express to do so. And that's very much not what, say, the blue and black lines are set up to do. I don't know how the ATSF is supposed to get across, and make good money to begin with. But again, early money is valuable, so it seems stupid not to reach for that. We'll see if like red or green, well, green's actually got a kind of nice setup here, but if red or green is able to get a huge bonus by being able to, play for that longer game, right? 5 companies going out though, right? 5 companies out of railways? Yeah. So if only one company's left, if you're the only person able to cross the line, you lose if everybody else chooses to stay in the area. Anyway, Brown saw their best money down here. They kept themselves below Blue. Boom. They're not going to have to release a share. And they still have a fair amount of money, I guess. Looks like plenty of money. I spent 13 for the round. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. The problem is a different one. They don't have enough money. They have the pieces to get them across if they're kind of careful with their pieces, but they don't have enough money to do so. Now, they're kind of in a cool position with owning the only 2 shares of their company. Do they want to go for short-term gains as well? You can see there's some heavy money sitting on some of these guys who went fairly, who went fairly heavily with their companies making money early. However, I've got a piece of that action, and on top of that I've got this. So I should be doing pretty well no matter what I do. I could either try to spur it on for, let's make the game end quicker, or I could try to stretch out. Now that would water down my green shares if I do that. Because, I could boink, boink, $3, maybe 6 here, another 3 here. We're out of game at that point. I don't cross the line. The question is whether or not it's worth, taking the strategy that the other players are taking and just pocketing sort of an assured money, or make that race for the line. And it looks like red's going to make the line anyway. What does that mean for me? I don't know. But remember, that line cost them $30. They're going to have to release a share in order for that to sell out. So that's going to water down his shares. We're in that same position. And on the other hand, there's some money to be made up here. and down here. And if I start doing that, I have no room to make the raise. So I think the safest thing I can do is actually just start pocketing money and ignore that Western expansion. I think you have to have a better grasp of the game to begin with and know what you're going to do and how hard you're going to push to get there. The problem with it is, I don't know if it's an economic advantage to do so. And yeah, I'm just blundering through my first game here, so it's just not becoming apparent to me that it would be easy to make it there. Now, let's see. I mean, if you forego Wichita, but that's so much money, these guys obviously could do that. But I think everybody's got to pump through Wichita, and that means there's only a couple of companies that have the pieces to go forward. I keep getting confused in turn order. I don't know why it is. Maybe because green's up here, I'm looking at that. There's just so many places to see it. It's just this line right here. So it's actually yellow who has to go next, not green. Poor sucker running yellow tried to put $40 bid on it. Well, other people said, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. So he tried to bid on it. Would have given him the presidency. But then some of these guys jumped in as well. $40 was his maximum. It means he's going to be able to cross the line, but I'm not sure that share was worth money. Like, I don't think the players are making money off of it. It's just a question of whether or not giving him a presidency meant something important. I was calculating it at about $40, but, you know, it's worth a little more than $40 because it's going to make $10 a round approximately. Well, it dropped below the $10 a round because of the share dilution, and the run that it's got isn't necessarily going to put it into a place where it's going to be making a lot of money. The only way it makes a lot of money is if it spends a lot of money and does the go west, and then it gets the, you know, $20 jump. But covering your ass by buying that seems reasonable. The problem is there isn't a lot of cash for them to get there, so they're probably going to have to release yet another share. Okay, and red started moving up here rather than releasing a share because I wanted more cash. I had only $40. I know if yellow went for, you know, 40 something, there's no question red is going to go for a fair amount of money as well. I'd love that to be my own money because I'd love to get that share. It's the only way I could possibly win. I've got 2 shares of the red already. I probably can't, but at least maybe I'll get more money out of other people than I'd get if I released it this turn. So I kind of went kind of slow here and kept my income low. Now blue is the highest ranking thing, and I do believe they get released here. I should look to make sure that's the case because they're out of choose now, and I don't know if that changes things. I know if they go west it changes the world, but I think this is still released and they'll still get cash and there's just nothing they can do with it. But what it does is it waters down everybody's share. They have a clear value, you know. You can look at what this is going to be. Right now it's 3 shares. It'll be 4 shares. 46, 48 divided by 4 is going to be only $12 a share. So this is round 6. There'll be 2 more rounds. It's got a base value of $24, and that's it. So whoever has it, this guy, he'll bid 23, and probably somebody else will bid 24 just to take that buck away from him, you know, and break even. The only problem with betting 24 or any amount is that you're giving up a certain opportunity, you know, value, but there's clearly more than enough cash there to be willing to do that. So now on the, I guess this is turn 7, or stock market 7 is coming around. So I could raise the value of a black share by a little bit. I think I can go here and here, and that would get me 3 more bucks on black. That would put me, I hate this kind of calculation, that would put me to 44. I would still be at 15 a share though. So why is that? Am I screwed up there? 41 divided by 3 is... I'm not getting this. 40 divided by 3 is 8 right now. 10, 11 divided by 3 is 13 or something like that. I don't know. We had to sell a share or something. I don't fucking know. That doesn't look right, because it was a fourth blue share that came out. So I think these values are wrong, but it may be that something got dueled up. Yeah, these guys got dueled up by blue. So, all right. So the current price is not matching what we had. We were higher up. So if I add the $3 to this, it goes up to 44. It goes up to 15 a share. That's where I'm at. Is blue at the right place? We're not sure. 46 divided by 4 is going to be like 11 a share. So they're not going to go. So I'm afraid to improve my route because that'll sell another share. But it might anyway because we don't know, like, you know, is Brown going to improve their route, whatever. Boy, this is a kind of unpleasant finish to the whole thing. So I think black is just going to pass on all this money in these things because they can't afford to boost this up to that 42. That's going to be an extra point. So 41 divided by 3 is not the number that I have there. I don't fucking know. All right. I mean, I've got some pizza I got to put in the oven, and I can't fucking figure out my turn in the time being because of the just the balancing. I mean, if you wanted to just improve your cash, you could do that, but that's not what you want to do in this game. You've got to prevent yourself from being the guy who has to sell out a share, and I really don't like that. I don't like the thought that's coming into that it's just too painful. A little bit of calculation, and I resorted to a calculator just because I don't like using a calculator in bus games, and it usually doesn't fit in Winsome, but in this case I feel like I had to. I was just failing too much doing it in my head. Anyway, resorting to a calculator, I figured out it was okay for black to expand because they're covered by brown. Now, brown's got a problem in that if they expand any further, it could go up to 45 because they've got 3 shares. Their price won't increase. So they could add one piece and not take any kind of hit from it. But if brown expands much more than that, they're going to add another piece. Now, here's the thing. Brown is not covered by black. Brown ends up triggering, remember, these go in the opposite direction, the Wall Street thing. So then the question is, are we covered by green? And we are. Unless green releases a share of their own, and oh boy, I hope I have this right. I'll have to recalculate all of green's run because I assume I did it right, but it might be off. Just because those weren't turned face up. That's a danger sign. But anyway, unless green releases a share on their own, decision, which they might do. They do have a fair number of pieces and not a whole hell of a lot of money, and it might be good to slam someone else at this point. Of course, I do have a brown share, so I'd be watering down my own share, and I'm not sure. This guy doesn't look like he's doing badly, so I don't know. There might be other people I'm more worried about, though. It's hard to tell. This guy seems to have piles of cash. Anyway, if I can weaken the brown shares with the green, but there's nothing brown can do about that. They might as well expand up to that 45. Can they go further than that? Probably not safely, because then everybody will hide behind them, so they don't have to release a share. At least anybody who's not going to make the run. It looks like green's not going to make the run, right? They started building back here. Red and yellow are the only companies that are going to try to make the race for it. And I think they're going to fail, because it's not what I planned for all game, right? I figured I would just fall into that. That's sort of the thing. I don't. A game that you have to play once to understand, what your options even really are. That's a painful choice to me. I don't mind if I don't know the details of the options, but this game is about the railways expanding to the west. That's a big part of the game, and it's not immediately clear just how hard that actually is to do. You think, well, it's the Santa Fe. It should be able to make it, right? Yeah, it has the same amount of pieces as everyone else, and if it tries to make money early, well, it's not in the best of positions to get down to Wichita, and so it won't make that run if it does that. So, a little bit there to disturb me. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm babbling about, and I'm sure you don't either. So, I guess we continue trying to figure out brown. And remember, I had to recalculate green. Crap. The yellow's lost the game. The guy running yellow's lost the game anyway. So he's releasing a share of his rail and bidding all his cash on it. He just wants to make that east-west connection. Generally, you don't see people in these Winsome type games coming up with, okay, let's do, let's do our own thing and just screw the victory conditions. But in this case, he's just so far behind, and nobody's going to outbid him. It's not worth that. The share is, if he goes up to $20, it's going to be, up to 45. Call it 50 something going out here, and he may have to release another share, by the way, to keep going as well. But it's just not going to make that much money. So say it ends up being worth, I don't know, what is it, $30? No, it's $20 for that extra thing. So 45, 50. Say it ends up getting as high as 60, which it may well do. There's some riches here that they haven't attached yet. If it goes up to 60, well, at 4 shares, this share is worth 15 a round, right? There's no way with 2 rounds left that it's worth all that money. So he's just going to dump it in. That gives him enough money to play all these and bid for another set of pieces. Actually, I probably didn't need to do it here. You could say, well, what the hell, it doesn't really hurt him. Yeah, but it does hurt the other people who've invested in it. But I don't care, I think he had enough cash to get here. It's got to do with the ordering of all this crap, and it's just such a complicated order of play compared to what most of the Winsomes have that I don't really like that. But I had to make my issue share, fine. Exercise land grant, I can't do that right away. So I needed to build the track first, and now next time maybe I don't have enough money, but I had to release it if I didn't want to calculate to see, hey, do I have enough to pay for that? Which, of course, I have to look up how much that is, because there's no little player aid or cheat sheet that come with these suckers. And then, after I figure out that, and I think it's $30 to get all those pieces, I can't really find it without, because of the stupid, yeah, $30 from the company's treasury or the president. So she has money. So that's going to cost me 30. I think I'll have enough to make it to the edge of the board and do a go west. And after I build the track, I can do the go west, which gives me the $20 bonus. So I think it's okay. I could have held off a turn and saved myself some cash. But again, I'm not in the running, so who cares? Now, green's in this weird position where I know that I'm going to trigger a stock round and, in the Wall Street thing, I'm going to be the guy who gets hit with it. So, and I'm not going to make a run here or anything like that. I might as well run for the most money I possibly can, right? Well, yeah, but in addition to that, I might as well release a share. And now, you could say, well, why do you want to do that? That's going to cut into your this turn earnings. Maybe, maybe not. think. See, if I buy the share, then it actually doesn't affect me. It just cuts into my cash on hand. If somebody else buys the share, I don't get all the cash from it. So I'll probably bid exactly what it's worth, which, you know, is going to be 2 runs at what, 1 run at whatever I'm going to get to this turn, and 1 run at wherever I'm going to get to next turn. But I'm probably going to, you know, if I release a share, I might as well buy as much of it as I can. On the other hand, I could release a share, and if somebody else buys it, not optimize the railway as much as I can. But since I have 2 of the 3 shares that'll be out, that probably hurts me more than anyone else. So I might as well pay its full optimal value. But remember, if somebody else, you know, bids $1 more than me, well, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of hurt by that, and that might be worth them doing. It's just trying to grasp, you know, how this stock market works and what it affects and what it means. It's all this tremendously gamey mechanism that has no attachment to the reality. And it's kind of funny because there's some XXE elements to this one, but they produce something that feels less real than most of the Winsome designs do. So we expanded as much as we possibly could and got ourselves unfortunately, the Frisco bought the share, which means we got hurt by releasing it early. Not by a whole hell of a lot, remember. It would get released at the end of the turn anyway. But we're also hurting people who own the Brown stock, because that's going to have to release this turn as well as ours. So, I don't know. We thought we'd be able to buy it, and we actually misestimated or miscalculated or didn't bother calculating how much it was going to be worth. And I was able to buy all my track, which got me up to 41. Now, let's look back and try to find the end conditions, which is over here. I hate full rule books like this. They're like, I don't know. I guess with something this small, who cares, but right? So it's 5 railways with no locomotives, which means Brown and Red both have locos right now, and Red might be going west. No, they're not going to be able to get their expansion this turn. Oh no, they will be able to get it this turn. And in fact, well, let's find the sequence of play again, because everything's determinant on that, and it's not in a visible place in the damn game, right? Which just sucks. It's like you have to paw through the rule book and fold and unfold it to find the things you want. So the land grants come before I build track, which means I will not have a land grant. I have to use all my track to get off the board, and that'll give us the 5. Okay, so that means the turn is ending, I think, at the end of the red player turn. Huh. So he's not going to get his extension and his extra stuff, and he's going to cut yellows, the value of that yellow share, and really every other share that just sold. The green share is going to get smashed too. Brown's not going to pay a cost of an extra share, but that's okay. That's just an opportunity cost in the sense that he'll get less income next time. So I think what we end up seeing is, now that green went, red wants to say, screw it, I'll end the game. No, I just bought this damn green share. I can't end the game, right? I don't know. I wasn't really in the running anyhow, and that's one of the problems, is it becomes so clear in this one. I'm not sure if this is, you know, just me bumbling around, but it seems easier in this one to fall behind than it felt like it was in like German rails or something like that. There's no clear catch-up mechanism here that allows you to gain points. So I don't know. I'm not really enjoying, so I think, and red has no chance of winning. I think they just want to crash it. I mean, green's not going to make them that much money. So they're going to end the game, and they'll just try to optimize their money at this point. And there we have it. I've consolidated the money so I have total values. So this guy's at 165, right? Over here it's 150. And then we start trickling down, and other people have like no money, right? I mean, like he threw all his cash in here. Okay, it was a stupid move. And his purchase of the green share was also a stupid move. But it almost feels like the ending is just really subjected to other people's whims. So, you know, red wants the game to end and has no chance of winning. Well, what the fuck? You handed me the trigger to do it. I'll do it. And it ends immediately on their turn. And you're kind of left with this, okay, I don't know. I mean, there were a couple of people who were doing well. There's no question of that. These guys were doing well. Nice. I don't know how he ended up, in fact, ahead of everyone with only 3 shares is what he was able to do. And they are some of the best shares out there. The blue and the black especially. But I would have thought over here would have more value. His watering down his share was a mistake. And especially so if he hands red the gun to end the game, right? And I mean, what else do you do, right? There were definitely mistakes made at that end game position, but I feel like that's fairly likely unless people are real students of this game. And I think that's, you know, how many of the Winsome games are ones that someone will be playing every few weeks or something like that, so that they really are honed up, or whatever level it takes to get to a level of expertise where you're not going to forget anymore the little intricacies of this particular game, as opposed to within the wave of all of them. So I think that's kind of a general problem, and then I have all my own particular peeves against this one. Did I learn anything? Well, yeah. I mean, the big thing I learned is you want to get that $20 bonus. You got to work like your ass off to do it, and there may not be too many companies that can be profitable enough to keep you in the game and still make that run. And remember, you've got to, you know, sell an expensive share essentially to get those extra 10 pieces that let you get out there. So I mean, it takes a huge effort to get across this line. We saw one person manage to do that. And if the game doesn't go 8 rounds, well, who the hell cares? You know, I mean, if you're not getting that $20 bonus or whatever a couple of times, it's going to be really hard. So I think maybe in order to do that, it may be possible to make some big money and then start investing big into a company. But I'm not sure. I'll come back with some sort of review because I've spent enough time on this, but I feel tremendously inadequate towards expressing anything about this game because I think it can only really be understood with a lot more plays than I'm ever going to be willing to put into it.